Tomorrow, thousands of people will be riding their bikes here for the first 3 stops on the pub crawl, and officials tell me that safety is their top priority. Local businesses have been amazing. They've come down with Gatorade, water. They've come down with pizza and subs to try to keep these guys hydrated and working. They're going into shifts, so if the Poe Fire Department is going in, Markle and Bluffton are relaxing, Aboit Center's on the other side, Decatur, Liberty Center. The amount of firefighters here is historic, and both the Wells County historian and the Bluffton fire chief say this is one of the biggest fires in Wells County history. The scene has changed drastically from where it was just a few hours ago when I was here. There used to be 8, 9 different departments. Now there's only about 4 remaining, but they're still trying to keep the fire under control and stop it from rekindling. Ribbon was cut at noon, and the first patrons were served. And owners tell me they plan on doing things a little bit differently. It has definitely died down, and the people I've talked with today who were coming out of the mall are frustrated. They were scared, and they're honestly just wanting to know why this happened. Brian and Krista, those I spoke with today, didn't really know what an air quality alert day was or that we were under one today. Inside the LaGrange County Sheriff's Department, it felt more like a family reunion than a news conference. It was about a cold case and a secret that's just now coming to light. The first time the family of Ralph Stutzman and Delbert Schrock met over Zoom, a family neither knew existed.
It's just a relief to know that what really happened to him and he's not laying in some ditch somewhere.
It turns out Ralph Stutzman and Delbert Schrock are the same person. Stutzman went out to the barn at their family farm in LaGrange County on August 17, 1952, and never returned. Thanks to genealogy and the work of the LaGrange County Sheriff's Department, the mystery has been solved. Stutzman walked away from Indiana, his wife, and his 13 children. He moved to Florida, changed his name to Delbert Schrock, and started an entirely new family with 6 more children.
How could somebody just pick up and walk away from their 13 kids and carry on another life?
Late last year, LaGrange County Sheriff's Detective Stephanie Meckham took a call from a genealogist. A sudden lead, then through investigation using DNA, the connection was made.
It's probably one of the biggest highlights of my life to be able to tell people like Floyd and Elsie that we've closed the case.
Delbert Schrock, or Ralph Stutzman as his Indiana family knew him, died in Florida in 1968. His long-kept secret finally revealed to his 2 families.
Say thank you for all the hard work and dedication that y'all done to figure this out, because, you know, without them, we wouldn't know this. We wouldn't know what was going on, and it'd still be a mystery.
Family members in LaGrange tell me they are still processing the news, but a few say one day they'd like to go to Florida and meet their newfound relatives.
That night, I don't know, he was really clingy. I think he snuck out when I went to bed. I think he had plans just to go to his friend's house.
And that was missing Waterloo teen Jaden Bowman's mom talking with 21 Investigates last Thursday. She was praying, pleading with her son, hoping he was still alive, wanting him to come home. And now she's learned awful news that police say her son led them on a chase in a stolen car before crashing into a tree on the Steuben-DeKalb County line where he died. Good evening, everyone. We're happy that you're with us tonight. We appreciate it. I'm Linda Jackson.
And I'm Krista Miller. I want to walk you through a timeline of what happened. The chase took place around 11 at night on April 19th, but police couldn't identify the body after the crash. The next day, 14-year-old Jaden Bowman's mother reported him missing. Police sent DNA for testing. They confirmed with Bowman's family last night that he was behind the wheel and died. 21 Alive's Taylor Williams has been following the story closely and is here with more. Taylor.
The family of Jaden Bowman declined to go on camera today. They say they are still coming to terms with the crash and are heartbroken. I spoke with one neighbor who described what she saw the night of the crash. On the DeKalb-Steuben County line, remnants of the deadly April 19th crash remain. A tire from the vehicle sitting in a nearby field. Orange police spray paint shows the route police say 14-year-old Jaden Bowman's car took as it left the roadway and crashed into a tree, where it burst into flames.
Just a nice little quiet town. We don't have this kind of stuff happen.
I spoke with Brandy Moorhead by phone. She lives down the street. She's been frustrated during the 2-week wait for answers about what happened.
Yeah, I kept searching for stuff and trying to figure out what was going on. We were listening on the police scanner that night, and then for like a week straight, we just kept searching, trying to find something, and there was nothing. And I asked people in town, and nobody had heard anything.
21 Investigates met with Jaden Bowman's mother last Thursday. She told us she suspected it was her son who died in the crash, but she still held out hope. And so did the family and friends as they posted these missing posters.
Jaden, if you're out there, just come home. Please.
Now we've learned her greatest fear has been realized. The Ashley Hudson Police Department says late on April 19th, they spotted a suspicious car, but as they approached it, police say the driver took off. Police say the chase reached speeds of 90 miles per hour. Police say they learned the car had been stolen. The Steuben County coroner had to use DNA to identify Bowman, a process which took 2 weeks. The Ashley Police Department has asked the Steuben County Sheriff's Office to review the pursuit. That investigation is still pending. The family says they still have a lot of unanswered questions about the crash. Taylor Williams, 21 Alive News. Back from Indianapolis looking for a safe place to live. And while he says he often hears gunshots and sirens, he tells me this shooting was a little too close to home.
I could see where all the cops were taking photos and everything for evidence last night. It was literally directly across the street.
Taylor Friedland is still processing what he says he saw Tuesday night when a woman was shot and killed right outside his window.
And I heard a few gunshots that were surprisingly close to the house. And my dog was outside freaking out, so I ran to let her inside. And as I'm letting her inside, I see into the alley. I don't see people, but I hear the gunshots and I see the muzzle flashes. So I pulled my dog inside and was probably one of the several people around here that called the police about the gunshots.
While on the phone, Freeland continued to watch outside his window.
The only people I saw running was a gentleman running to the back door of that house, carrying somebody in his arms.
Friedland says police arrived within 3 minutes of his call. When they got there, they found a woman badly hurt after being shot. Paramedics say the woman died at the scene. Friedland says despite the violence Tuesday on his street, he still feels safe inside his home.
I think that's really what I learned last night, is people will do anything anywhere if they think they're capable of it, or if they think that it's just what they need to do. I don't know what happened in that alley, but it was not, it was terrifying.
These vigilantes aren't hiding behind a mask. They are disguising themselves as teenage girls looking to expose predators online and on social media. While the group's intentions may be good, law enforcement advises against taking the law into your own hands.
We need them to stay here as long as possible until law enforcement arrives.
Video from a Facebook Live posted by a vigilante group. It was taken in Huntington County in April. It shows a man being put into handcuffs by police, a man who was later charged with child solicitation.
I mean, you definitely should be worried about who you're talking to online.
This is the vigilante who shot and posted the video. He goes by Boots and says he wouldn't give us his real name for safety reasons. Boots is the president of a nonprofit called Bikers Against Predators. He says the group's mission is to catch and expose online child predators. It's an issue that hits close to home.
We had a case with one of our family members that was a victim of an online child predator. As a father and a community, we felt that there wasn't a lot done in this case. And not so much because law enforcement wasn't taking the proper steps. It's just that these cases are kind of hard to find who they're talking to.
Here's how it works. Members of the group will pose as teenage girls creating social media and dating profiles. Then they wait.
We wait for them to lead those conversations sexual. Once they do, and then they ask if we'd like to meet, The only difference is it's us there and not a real minor.
When they meet, Boots live streams the interactions on Facebook Live while another member calls the police. Boots says they use burner phones, then hand over all of the text and video to police. Over the past 2 years, the group says they have caught 218 men and one woman looking to meet minors online for sex. Out of the last 10 men shown on the group's Facebook page, 6 have been charged with some level of child solicitation. 3 are still waiting to see if charges will be filed. And 1 man wasn't charged at all. Boots says they are looking to expand operations, as he says more county prosecutors are taking their cases. But is what they're doing legal? Jody Madeira, a professor of law at Indiana University, says yes.
Call these types of groups vigilante groups, vigilante investigations. And the concern is really there's no laws that prohibit this type of activity. The concern is really that the evidence may not stand up in court because it could be second or third hand. It could create potential wiggle room for defense lawyers.
Allen County Prosecutor Mike McAlexander has prosecuted cases brought to his office by groups like Bikers Against Predators. However, he says his preference is to let law enforcement do its job.
We'd hate to have a situation where somebody got seriously hurt or even killed during one of these confrontations. So again, you kind of have to pick what your real goal is. Do you want criminal prosecutions, or do you want to make a splash on Facebook?
McAlexander says they consider a lot of factors when deciding whether or not to move forward with a case.
We want citizen cooperation, but we have to follow the rules. And I think sometimes when people do this, they have unrealistic expectations of how the system will do it. And it's not because we don't want to go after the bad guy, it's that we have to do it right. If we don't do it right and there's an appeal, it gets sent back to us.
Indiana State Police agree, warning against vigilante groups taking cases into their own hands. In a statement to 21 Alive News, Indiana State Police said, quote, "We ask the general public not to take the law into their own hands and call local law enforcement," end quote. Boots argues his group is careful, and they've developed tactics to make for solid cases.
I would want to know, and I feel that same thing would happen to anybody in the community, and it does. It happens every time we catch somebody. That's my brother, that's my neighbor, that's my boss, and these people will have access to your children.
The Whitley County Commission does not fund the library, but commissioners say they've received enough complaints about the Pride display. They wrote this letter pushing back. These are the 2 parts of the Pride display in the Peabody Public Library. One is located in the adult section, the other in the teen section. They feature books by and about LGBTQ+ people, along with photos of historical figures and celebrities.
Presenting information about individuals that are different than you, I don't think is a wrong thing.
Mike Ashby is the executive director of the library and has been since January. He says in the past, the library has put up displays and taken them down after complaints. But this year, Ashby says it will stay.
I think overall the community is very welcoming of everyone. And when you see something that you don't agree with and you complain and it's instantly said, okay, that's giving way to one opinion. And I don't think that's what libraries are for. The libraries are to represent everyone.
Those complaints made their way to the Whitley County Commissioners, who posted this statement saying, quote, "The Whitley County Board of Commissioners supports the right for everyone to be treated with fairness, dignity, and respect. We do not support the promotion of sexuality being displayed at the Peabody Public Library and feel it's the responsibility of parents to provide their children with sexual education, not the library, summer camps, or other public entities."
They are their own taxing entity, and they are ran completely separately.
Teresa Basinger says the commission doesn't run the library, but the commissioners have received several complaints about the display, and they felt they needed to address the issue.
Of course, there are going to be things that are contrary to my beliefs or contrary to your beliefs or other people, and that's completely fine. You know, the library is there for a resource. I think it's when you display a certain one that, you know, people may not agree with or they may agree with, whether it be, you know, religion, sexuality, anything of the sorts.
I went with Basinger to the library to look at the display and get a tour from Ashby himself. After the tour, Basinger says her opinion of the display didn't change. She still believes it shouldn't be in a public library.
So I would like to see all of the parents feel like they can continue to bring their kids here and, have a good experiences.
Ashby says,
I still feel that we are strongly behind the mission and the vision of the library to be inclusive.
today volunteers lowered the screen from its post. Owners say it's been a community effort to get their beloved drive-in back.
Today was a wonderful day to bring it down. But man, I can't wait to see that brand new screen and a top of the line movie and fill this whole place up with families.
The Auburn Garrett Drive-In is getting a new look after a storm tore parts of the screen last August.
It's very emotional because it is a piece of history leaving us.
For owner Julie Yard, the drive-in has been more than just a livelihood. It's a business she hopes to pass on to her son and grandchildren.
And my parents used to take me to the drive-in. So when we bought the drive-in theater in 1989, my thoughts were, heck yes, we're going to keep this going forever.
The drive-in first opened back on May 16th, 1951. Yard says it's a landmark in the community. One that businesses near and far have offered to donate their time and money to help restore and get the movies running again.
Oh, it's going to be so exciting. I'm like a little kid in a candy store. I get very excited very easily. And this just keeping the drive-in alive was my goal. I made that statement on August 29th when your news teams were here, and I was committed to help and do whatever. And then the community just stepped in, and it's just been awesome.
What it's all about. Having the best ice cream is really a pretty simple task. The difficult part is creating the atmosphere so that people can do what you're seeing now, which is just enjoy.
Rusty's Ice Cream has become a fan favorite in the Summit City, taking patrons back to the 1980s, one scoop of ice cream at a time.
They got good ice cream.
And all the 80s decor.
Yeah.
Saturday, the ice cream shop celebrated its second anniversary in business. The owners say the journey has been a bit of a rocky road.
We had a pretty clear vision of what we wanted. Now, sometimes technology gets in the way. I don't know if you heard there was a pandemic that messed some things up, the supply chain. I mean, there's always roadblocks in the way. But where we're going, we don't need roads.
And owners say they plan the celebration to be anything but vanilla. As ice cream lovers and Back to the Future fans alike got a chance to see and ride in a DeLorean time machine.
This is amazing.
And owners say they are just getting started.
Hey, we're always trying to come up with another way that we can make that an inclusive environment. We want to yank you right out of whatever you're dealing with from day to day and put you in the summer of 1989.
For 21 Alive News, I'm Taylor Williams. Silver Moon Pub 3 opened back in February. For months, it was a spot the community could gather for food, drinks, art, and entertainment. But the fun has stopped. As of last week, the pub and building are looking for a new owner.
It's been a lot of sadness and kind of heartbreak for the community here in Huntington.
A for sale sign is now placed in the window of Silver Moon Pub 3.
It's been restored into this beautiful facility and no one's able to use it. So it's been really tough for the Huntington community just because of what's going on the outside of the building.
Construction closed US 224, which runs right in front of the bar in early April, leading to less traffic downtown, both by car and on foot. The Indiana Department of Transportation says businesses were notified prior to the start of construction. INDOT personnel says they spoke with a representative of the pub and offered to move barricades as needed so deliveries and trash pickup could access the business. However, owners say it didn't help. Moving forward, they are looking on the bright side.
I know the construction will be coming to an end sooner rather than later, but it doesn't really help our situation right now. So the building itself is set up in a way that it was going to be so successful for whoever can come in and finish out the job.
Their hope, a new owner will step up and reopen the beloved spot by many in Huntington.